The spirits of the Candelabra. The Moon Melodies Opera House, nestled on the shores of a misty lake, glowed softly every night, drawing guests from distant lands who came for the ethereal performances as much as for the wonder that filled every inch of the grand building. Little did they know, the true magic of Moon Melodies was woven through its many corridors, boxes, and seats, not by the actors, but by the invisible residents who filled every candle and candelabra with life, the spirits of the Candelabra. These tiny spirits, no larger than balloons and almost as light as air, darted about like bubbles, each with a distinct personality, expressive face, and a pair of tiny clawed paws. Though no two spirits were the same, most wore the warm colors of flame, crimson, orange, and yellow, like tiny, floating suns that shone with an inner light. The more elusive spirits shimmered in shades of blue, green, or purple, and hid in the shadows or floated near the highest reaches of the chandeliers. When guests marveled at the flicker of candlelight or the way the chandeliers seemed to pulse with an unseen energy, they were glimpsing the secret work of the candelabra spirits. These spirits didn't merely haunt the lamps and candles, they lived within them. Each lamp, whether grand or humble, was larger inside than it seemed, with cozy chambers where the spirits could unwind. Within each light fixture, there were tiny homes filled with decorations, beloved trinkets, and sometimes even furniture as plush and lavish as any found in the Grand Opera Hall itself. In the great chandelier of the main hall, which sparkled like a palace in the sky, there were entire communities of spirits living together, in rooms and theaters, concert halls and gardens, a hidden city bustling within the grandest light fixture in Moon Melodies. Here, life pulsed in a playful rhythm. Friends flew between lamps to visit each other, zipping out and leaving trails of sparkling light as they flitted about. Sometimes, they played games, dashing between rows of seating or scurrying up the velvet curtains, their soft glows adding an otherworldly sheen to the rich fabric. Other times, they floated about in pairs or threes, chattering in their high, melodic language, an ancient tongue that few humans could understand. Their voices were like the tinkling of tiny bells, so soft that guests only heard faint echoes, mistaking them for the hum of old chandeliers or the whistling wind through cracks in the grand old windows. But those with knowledge of magic knew better. On rare occasions, sorcerers or enchanted children caught glimpses of the spirits flitting by or managed to hear a snatch of their language. It was said that those who learned the language of the candelabra spirits could discover secrets untold, the whispered scandals of actors, the confessions of lovers in shadowed corners, the latest gossip exchanged between noble guests. To the spirits of the candelabra, nothing was hidden. Yet, despite all their fun and secrets, the spirits had one solemn duty, the eternal upkeep of the light. They kept every candle ready to burn at a moment's notice and guarded the everlasting bulbs, ensuring that the magic never wavered. No candle ever wore down, no lamp ever flickered out, thanks to the diligent care of the spirits who polished, mended, and renewed every flame from within. The spirits themselves took great pride in their work, and the oldest among them were the wisest keepers of light. In the grand chandelier, where the oldest and most respected spirits resided, they held meetings in a hall fashioned of pure, shimmering crystal, a meeting place of light and wisdom. Here, they would decide on matters of grand importance, such as which corners of the theatre to illuminate brightest, or which lamps to let burn low during dramatic performances. During particularly quiet hours, those hushed moments just after a performance, as the audience shuffled out, the spirits would hold their own, tiny theatre productions within the chandelier palace. Using their lights to cast shadows against walls of crystal, they performed for each other scenes of opera and tales of heroism that they'd overheard or imagined. The younger spirits adored these productions, and the chandelier pulsed softly with excitement whenever such a show was underway. Then, as night deepened and Moon Melodies slipped into silence, the spirits would settle back into their lamps and candles, returning to their private worlds to rest until the next performance. Though hidden, they could sense when guests entered, and felt the murmurs of conversation, the rush of emotions in the air. And so they waited, ever ready to illuminate the path for new tales, new performances, and new lives to play out on the stage below. And for those rare mortals who knew of their presence, who could listen and understand, the spirits of the candelabra were keepers not only of light but of memories, flickering echoes of 1,000 stories that danced like stars in the vast, secret worlds hidden within the glow of the Moon Melodies Opera House. The candelabra spirits of the Moon Melodies Opera House, each in a hue as vivid as a painter's palette, were as diverse in their roles as they were in their colors. Every color represented a unique gift, a specialized talent honed over years of careful observation and practice. Each hue was a badge of purpose, a mark of the duties they cherished and the secrets they guarded. Crimson spirits, the keepers of passion and performance. The crimson spirits were the heart of the opera house. They understood the nuances of the grandest performances, the rise and fall of an actor's voice, the tension in every dramatic pause. Their specialty lay in amplifying the emotions of each scene, infusing performances with their own energy. During an opera's climax or a delicate solo, crimson spirits would swirl just above the actors, adding depth to the characters' emotions by casting a rich, pulsing glow on stage. Their red light made the room feel warmer, as though the very walls held their breath with anticipation. Some actors, sensitive to their influence, claimed they felt an almost electric surge, lending them a depth of feeling they might not have reached alone. The crimson spirits were also passionate about storytelling and often gathered in secret to exchange tales they'd witnessed over the centuries. They were entrusted with the theater's most dramatic tales, love and heartbreak, bravery and betrayal, passing these on to younger spirits and keeping alive the soul of the theater. Orange spirits, the guardians of movement and light. Orange spirits, vibrant and energetic, were the experts in lighting dynamics. They were constantly in motion, dancing around chandeliers, slipping between seats, and leaping from candle to candle. Their talent lay in manipulating light to suit each performance, whether it was a lively operetta or an intense soliloquy. During fast-paced scenes, the orange spirits would create dramatic flares, mimicking the brightness of dawn or the intensity of a blazing sunset. In somber moments, they would dim themselves, casting shadows that wrapped around the actors like a velvet curtain. These spirits were also skilled in creating moving lights. Sometimes, guests noticed what looked like fleeting figures in the corners of their eyes. That was often the work of the orange spirits, guiding viewers' attention where it needed to be or adding an extra layer of mystery to a scene. These light dancers were integral to the opera's most visually striking moments, leaving lasting impressions on the audience. Yellow spirits, the bringers of warmth and happiness. The yellow spirits were the opera house's gentle, glowing sunbeams. Radiating warmth and kindness, they were experts in mood lifting and laughter. These spirits specialized in comforting nervous actors, particularly those new to the stage, and calming audiences with their soft, warm glow. They would gather around performers who needed a boost, infusing them with courage and giving them the sense that they were basking in gentle sunlight. Yellow spirits often visited the theater's grand atrium, where guests lingered before and after performances. Here, they infused the space with a cozy glow that helped guests feel relaxed and joyous. Patrons felt inexplicably happier, warmer, and more sociable in their presence. And on dark, rainy nights, It was the yellow spirits who glowed especially bright, lifting the spirits of anyone who walked through the doors of Moon Melodies. These spirits were also in charge of soothing restless children, sometimes even twinkling down from chandeliers to give them a comforting wink. They were known for their laughter, a soft, chiming sound like bells, which they shared freely with all. Blue spirits, the keepers of calm and clarity. The blue spirits were the quietest, most contemplative of all the Candelabra spirits. They specialized in bringing calm and clarity, two qualities essential in an opera house where emotions ran high. Whenever tensions rose, whether during an intense performance or behind-the-scenes quarrels, the blue spirits would glide down softly, casting a tranquil blue light that smoothed tempers and quieted anxious minds. Actors and patrons alike would feel an unexplainable sense of serenity wash over them, their fears and stresses melting away. These spirits were also highly perceptive and skilled at gathering knowledge. Known to hide in shadowed corners and listen to whispered conversations, the blue spirits often took on the role of quiet observers, keepers of the opera house's many mysteries. They could convey insights to other spirits, helping them guide certain events toward harmony and peace. There were tales of a few skilled wizards who had managed to communicate with the blue spirits, seeking their wisdom on matters both within and beyond the walls of Moon Melodies. Light blue spirits, the whisperers of secrets. Even more elusive than their blue counterparts, the light blue spirits specialized in the hidden, the secretive, and the mysterious. They were masters of invisibility, fading so softly into the glow of a candle or lamp that they were barely noticeable, even to other spirits. Their role was to listen and gather, absorbing the whispered words of guests who thought they were unobserved. Many in the opera house's inner circle, actors, producers, even nobility, had no idea that their secrets had invisible witnesses, that every confession, plot, and murmur had been carefully collected by the light blue spirits. These spirits were highly organized, often moving between rooms and passing messages to one another through an intricate language of soft, nearly silent hums. They could deliver discreet warnings to other spirits, alerting them to secrets that might impact a performance or the opera house itself. On occasion, the light blue spirits would share these secrets with trusted wizards or magical beings, but only if it served to protect the theater. Violet spirits, the guardians of mystery and enchantment. The rarest of the Candelabra spirits, violet spirits were guardians of the strange, the supernatural, and the extraordinary. Their role went beyond the usual duties of light. They held a deep understanding of magical enchantments and were responsible for safeguarding the opera house's ancient spells. These spirits specialized in protecting Moon Melodies from dark forces and enhancing its enchantments so that the lights never faltered and the performances always felt magical. Violet spirits could amplify the mystique of any performance, casting a ghostly lavender glow that made scenes feel otherworldly. They often flitted among the chandeliers or hovered over the stage during particularly haunting scenes, creating an atmosphere of mystery that no human lighting technician could ever match. They also held the power to communicate with the spirits of actors long past, preserving their energy and guiding them into the eternal peace of the theater. These spirits rarely interacted with the others, preferring solitude or the company of ancient relics and spells. Yet their presence was always felt, especially by those attuned to magic. It was said that on quiet, moonlit nights, a violet spirit would appear to those who truly loved the theater, blessing them with a glimpse into the opera house's vast magical history. And so, with every flickering light and glowing ember, the spirits of the Candelabra imbued Moon Melodies Opera House with a vitality and grace that made it a realm of enchantment. Together, the colors of crimson, orange, yellow, blue, light blue, and violet formed a spectrum that brought magic to every performance, transforming the theater into a living, breathing world where light was more than illumination, it was life, passion, and mystery combined. The Candelabra spirits of the Moon Melodies Opera House held secrets so powerful and ancient that, if whispered in the right ears, they could change the very fabric of the theater. These were not simple secrets of fleeting romances or actor rivalries, but rather the deep, mystical stories that defined the essence of Moon Melodies. Over time, the spirits learned to guard these mysteries, holding them as both treasures and responsibilities. Here are the 7 main opera secrets, passed down and protected by the wisest spirits among the candelabras. 1. The Phantom Passage of the Forgotten Star. Beneath the ornate floors of Moon Melodies, concealed behind a trapdoor only visible in moonlight, lies the Phantom Passage, a hidden hallway that spirals down into the depths of the theater. The Crimson Spirits, the keepers of passion, tell of how it was built centuries ago in secret for an actress named Mile Rouge, the theater's brightest star, who vanished without a trace. Legends say that Mile, unwilling to let go of the stage even in death, walks this passageway during each new moon, her footsteps heard faintly by those who listen closely near the trapdoor. It is said she rehearses lines from her final, never completed performance, and any actor who is brave enough to follow her ghostly voice gains her talent and courage for life. Yet, no one has seen Mile in generations, only the Crimson Spirits have witnessed her spectral presence, drifting through the passageway, her form an echo of the passion she once embodied. 2. The Velvet Curtain of Eternal Voices. The grand, midnight blue velvet curtain that hangs on stage is no ordinary fabric. Woven into its threads are the voices of performers who once graced the Moon Melodies stage, their finest performances captured in the fibers. The Blue Spirits, the guardians of calm and clarity, discovered that by gently brushing against the curtain, they could release faint echoes of past performances. During moments of intense quiet in the theater, the spirits sometimes playfully brush against the curtain, allowing visitors to hear snippets of powerful arias, heartfelt monologues, and laughter long past. However, there's more to the curtain's magic. On rare occasions, an actor struggling with a role may sense a voice guiding them, giving them the insight they need to embody a character. Some believe that this is a gift left behind by the performers, a final contribution to the theater that was their world. 3. The Lost Aria of Althea, the Water Muse. One of the Moon Melodies' greatest mysteries lies in the Lost Aria of Althea, an opera composed over 200 years ago that remains incomplete to this day. According to legend, Althea was a water muse, a spirit of rivers and lakes, who fell in love with a mortal composer. She poured her soul into the music, hoping he would hear her and know her love. But on the night of the aria's first performance, Althea disappeared, leaving the final notes unwritten. The light blue spirits, who specialize in secrets and the unseen, claim that on foggy nights, Althea's voice can still be heard, singing the aria's missing notes above the lake. The spirits hold that the one who hears the complete aria will be granted an audience with Althea herself, and perhaps even a glimpse of the hidden realm of the water spirits. Only a few enchanted children and dreamers have heard her voice, but none yet have learned the aria in full. 4. The Shadow Box of Reflections. Box 7, known by many as the Shadow Box, is rarely occupied, and for good reason. Located to the right of the stage, the Shadow Box is rumored to house a mirror that reflects not the viewer's image but the person's innermost fears and desires. Yellow spirits, drawn to joy and happiness, have spent ages trying to brighten the energy of this place but have found it stubbornly resistant to their light. Instead, the mirror in Box 7 pulls shadows from deep within each viewer's soul, capturing these shadows in its glass. It's said that if a brave soul can stand before the mirror and confront what they see, they will gain extraordinary insight into themselves. However, if they turn away in fear, the mirror will hold a piece of their shadow forever, which it will then whisper to the spirits who dwell in the chandelier palace. Those secrets are passed among the spirits, a warning to those who wish to look but aren't prepared for what they might find. 5. The Ghost Light of Lyra the Spellbinder. Lyra was the theatre's first enchantress, an actress of unmatched charisma who cast spells as easily as she delivered lines. After her passing, she left behind a single enchanted candle known as the Ghost Light. The candle, which sits at center stage, burns with a blue-green flame that never wavers, even when the theater is empty. The orange spirits, guardians of movement and light, discovered that Lyra's spirit sometimes emerges from the flame during performances, lending a magical aura to the stage. Anyone who gazes into the ghost light too long risks glimpsing visions of the theater's past, a flood of memories, joy, heartbreak, and moments of magic, all interwoven into a whirlwind of emotions. The light is both a guardian and a keeper of history, and some actors believe that by making a quiet offering to the ghost light, they'll receive Lyra's blessing before taking the stage. 6. The Staircase of Whispering Steps. Tucked behind a narrow door near the west wing lies the Staircase of Whispering Steps, a winding, spiraled set of stairs that descends into forgotten parts of the theater. Violet spirits, the keepers of mystery and enchantment, have always favored this staircase, drawn to the otherworldly whispers that echo with each step. No one knows who, or what, created the whispers, but legend has it that if one listens carefully, they might hear secrets about the future. Only those of a courageous heart can descend all the way down, for each step brings more intense whispers of future events, hopes, and heartbreaks. If someone manages to reach the bottom without turning back, they'll be granted insight into their deepest desires, though some are said to lose their way in the shadows, returning only after the theater has long closed for the night. 7. The Echo Stage, where wishes come true. The Echo Stage, an invisible platform hidden just above the main stage, is the opera house's greatest and most precious secret. Discovered by the crimson and yellow spirits working together, this ethereal platform allows for a single wish to be made by a performer on the night of a full moon. To reach the Echo Stage, a performer must climb the hidden staircase within the main chandelier at midnight. Once there, if they whisper a wish from their heart, the spirits of the theater will grant it, but only if the wish is selfless and comes from a place of true love for the art. Once, a young soprano made it to the Echo Stage and wished for her fellow performers to find courage and joy in their craft. The theater has since been blessed with particularly gifted and passionate actors. But the stage is difficult to reach, requiring a heart pure and a spirit determined. Those who manage to reach it feel a rush of magic, a connection to every performer who has ever stood upon the opera house stage, and their wish echoes throughout the theater, carried by the spirits of the Candelabra themselves. These 7 secrets weave the magic that makes the Moon Melodies Opera House so extraordinary. Guarded by the Candelabra spirits, each secret enhances the theater's allure and keeps the spirits constantly alert, knowing they are the guardians of the opera house's ancient mysteries. Together, they ensure that Moon Melodies remains a realm of enchantment, a place where reality and magic intertwine, where light and shadow dance in eternal harmony. One quiet evening, as the last echoes of applause faded through the grand halls of Moon Melodies Opera House, the Candelabra spirits fluttered restlessly in the main opera hall. It was the night of a full moon, a night when even the most modest candle glowed with an otherworldly light. The spirits of the Candelabra had been working tirelessly for days, readying the theater for a performance of unprecedented beauty, one that would capture the hearts of everyone who entered. Each spirit yearned to give something special, whether it was the crimson spirits infusing the stage with a rich, romantic glow, or the violet spirits casting a shroud of mystery over the performance. But that night, something extraordinary happened. As the spirits moved around, preparing for the upcoming show, a silent understanding seemed to pass between them. Slowly, they began to drift together, moving in a rhythmic, almost choreographed dance toward the great chandelier that hung like a jeweled crown above the stage. Their lights mingled, twisting and turning in a cascade of crimson, orange, yellow, blue, light blue, and violet. For the first time, hundreds of candelabra spirits united, their soft luminescent bodies converging in a single, brilliant point of light at the heart of the chandelier. The chandelier began to tremble, its crystal arms swaying in harmony with the spirits' movements. And then, out of that ethereal light, a figure began to take shape. At first, it was little more than a shimmer, a blur of colors in the heart of the chandelier, but as the moments passed, the figure grew more defined, a giant, resplendent ghost whose form mirrored the ornate beauty of the chandelier itself. The spirits had fused together, giving birth to a single, majestic entity, the ghost of the chandelier. He was a magnificent apparition, with limbs like the flowing crystal arms of the chandelier and a face that shimmered with the combined colors of the spirits who had created him. His body seemed woven from strands of light, with a gown that trailed like mist and a face both regal and kind. His eyes glowed with the wisdom of centuries, and in his hands, he held a staff of light, like a conductor preparing to lead an orchestra. The entire hall, from its grand stage to the highest balcony, filled with his spectral glow. The ghost of the chandelier lifted his staff, and the entire opera house seemed to hold its breath. In that moment, every candle, every lamp, and every glimmer of light in the theater was under his command. He waved his staff gently, and a soft, enchanting melody filled the hall, a sound like the whispering of distant stars, the hum of wind through forgotten attics, and the echo of 1,000 operatic arias sung across time. The ghost had conjured a symphony of light and sound, each note a blend of colors and emotions, a language that spoke to the soul of everyone who listened. The first performance. The ghost of the chandelier turned his gaze to the stage below, and with a graceful sweep of his arm, the curtains rose, revealing an ethereal scene he had crafted himself. In that moment, actors, musicians, and dancers who were meant to take the stage that evening found themselves mesmerized, their roles elevated beyond their usual artistry. Under the ghost's protection, each performer moved with extraordinary grace, their voices lifted in harmony with the ghost's unseen choir. It was as though the spirits of the past had returned to guide them, infusing each line and gesture with centuries of theatrical mastery. The audience, spellbound, watched as the ghost wove a spectacle that transcended mere performance. Colors flowed from his form, casting the entire stage in a luminous glow that changed with the mood of each scene. When the play turned to tragedy, a soft violet light enveloped the stage, creating an atmosphere so thick with sorrow that some in the audience openly wept. During a moment of levity, golden laughter burst forth from the ghost himself, casting a bright yellow glow that filled the hall with warmth, encouraging even the shyest guests to smile. Throughout the performance, the ghost would flicker in and out of visibility, appearing at the center of the chandelier one moment, then floating gracefully above the audience, his light touching each viewer as though to personally share the magic with them. By the end, when the final notes faded and the last line was spoken, the entire opera house seemed to exhale as one, a reverent silence falling before an eruption of applause that shook the very walls. And just as mysteriously as he had appeared, the ghost of the chandelier raised his luminous staff one final time. With a bow to the audience, he dissolved into the crystals of the chandelier, leaving only the faintest shimmer of light where he had once stood. A monthly ritual begins. Word of the ghost of the chandelier's performance spread quickly through the city. Audiences, eager for a glimpse of the mysterious figure, began flocking to the theatre on nights of the full moon, hoping for a repeat of that legendary night. And the spirits of the Candelabra, delighted by the success of their creation, began to reunite each month under the moonlight, calling forth their combined power to bring the ghost back to life. Each month, the ghost of the chandelier would return, and with him came his gift of supernatural artistry. Under his protection, the performers reached new heights, their talents magnified and their spirits emboldened. Musicians found themselves playing with unprecedented passion, dancers seemed to float, and actors delivered their lines with an intensity that left audiences breathless. The ghost's presence brought out the best in every performer, and soon, the full moon performances became renowned as the most extraordinary productions in all the land. People traveled from distant cities and foreign kingdoms to witness these enchanted nights, hoping to experience the magic firsthand. The ghost's powers and mysteries. Over time, those who attended regularly began to notice certain patterns. The ghost's powers seemed to go beyond simply amplifying performances. Some said that he could read the desires and worries of the performers, alleviating their fears with a calming presence. A nervous young actor, just starting his career, might feel a soft, guiding light around him, easing his trembling voice and steadying his stance. A seasoned diva, jaded and weary, might feel her heart uplifted by the ghost's benevolent touch, her spirit rekindled. The chandelier itself grew even more magnificent with each appearance of the ghost, as though his presence had woven some ancient magic into its crystals. Light would shimmer in strange patterns, casting intricate symbols and mysterious runes on the floor, marks known only to the violet spirits, who whispered that these symbols held protective enchantments that kept Moon Melodies safe from dark magic. Once, during a performance, a jealous nobleman attempted to sabotage the show. As he crept backstage, planning to cause trouble, he was halted by an unearthly chill and the sight of the ghost of the chandelier standing directly before him, staring with eyes that glowed like twin stars. Terrified, the nobleman fled, never to return, and the legend of the ghost's protective powers grew. The legacy of the ghost of the chandelier. As the tradition continued, the ghost became known as the guardian of Moon Melodies, a silent but ever-watchful protector who preserved its magic. Each spirit of the Candelabra felt immense pride in having created this entity, for they knew he was not just their gift to the theatre, but a symbol of their unity and dedication. Through him, they could express their love for the theatre in ways that words or light alone never could. On each full moon, as the ghost of the chandelier's performance began, the spirits scattered throughout the theatre to watch. Some nestled into the shadows, others took to their favorite candle or lamp, while the youngest spirits flitted excitedly about, waiting for the show to begin. And each month, as the ghost once again conjured a masterpiece of light and emotion, they knew that they were witnessing something truly eternal, a legacy woven from the dreams and devotion of countless souls. Thus, the Moon Melodies Opera House became not only a place of art and grandeur but a realm of living magic, protected and enchanted by the ghost of the chandelier, whose luminous performances would continue to dazzle audiences for generations to come.